Good afternoon and welcome back to the club. And I'm delighted as always to be joined by James Dawes, but today even more so, the man of the moment, the hero, the promotion goal winner, the man that has so many hats that he needs a new hat stand. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, George. Yeah, really excited. What a week, huh? It's been absolutely humbling to see all the messages of support and congratulations that we've seen. Obviously, the news broke that, Malaga City has got that all-important promotion to Division Day North for next season, and also Malaga City, confirming their place into Tercera next season. I know for you it's been a long-term sort of goal, and to finally be at that moment, wow, what an achievement.
You're being very modest. Very modest. And who scored the winning goal at the weekend?
Yeah, I managed to chip in there, but
off the shin pad or the ankle?
Yeah, something like that, But just a special week, obviously on a personal note, but for everybody involved here at the club, not just the players. We've got some fantastic guests on the show today that have obviously been through the academy ranks in Cameron, Angel and Neil. And also Michael and Alessandro on the Almun side. So
I think it's great to see, the project work and so many players coming through to the senior team. We're getting so much success. Obviously we sat here on the last show saying we'd love to have promotion. The weekend couldn't have been better. Let's not forget the girls won 7-2 in the promotion semi-final, and to see that success happening with one of our own, so to speak, players coming through from the junior ranks into the senior is very special feeling.
Yeah, I don't think you could have written a sort of better script, Obviously, unfortunately, the U23s just narrowly missed out, but they gave it everything to the last day. And I think it goes to show, the hard work from not only, like I said, the people on the pitch, but the people off it as well. From, the kit man in Alejandro, the photographers that do a fantastic job in Vicky and Flo, and just everybody associated with the club, and Dave, of course. Yeah, I've got to give a big shout out to my main man, Dave Darby. But we've got quite an exciting show in store.
Fantastic. So we're going to start with Neil, Angel and Cameron and talking about FC Malaga City.
Let's go.
It feels like yesterday we were getting that promotion. Here we are with another one, It's just year after year. We're very fortunate to be living such an experience with so much success, and we hope it keeps going. And I'm delighted to say that we're joined here in the studio with Cameron, Angel and Neil. Don't know who wants to go first in introducing yourselves, but I always think of you guys as the three musketeers. You came into the youth team at the same time. You're very rarely apart. I see you walking around after training together, getting your coffees and your tea breaks. So thanks for your time and thanks for coming on.
Angel, you can kick us off, honestly. Oh,
no. There you go ahead.
You know what? I might as well go first. It's been a real honor to really be here through the ranks and come through the academy with my fellow friends here, Angel and Neil. But honestly, I couldn't do it without George and James and just the club believing in us from the start. And luckily, we were able to take what we were given and really rise to the occasion and jump into the senior team and I couldn't be more grateful for what has happened, and I'm just looking forward to the future.
And what do you think, obviously promotion last year, promotion this year, how do they compare? Is there any differences on a personal level, on a team level?
Last season.
The difference is the system of the league. I wouldn't want to take any credit away from this year, but last season I find it way harder.
Yeah.
Especially because of only one team being able to get promoted, and out of, I don't know, what was it, 20...
Something like that, yeah.
27 teams maybe, or even more?
22, yeah. If you remember last year, we had we were still coming out of COVID, and I hate to reference back and go on about COVID now that life's back to normal, but of course, we had the group split geographically, if you remember, and it was points per game.
Exactly.
And it wasn't on how many points you had, it was on your average per game, and it was it went right down to the wire.
We 0.001 or something.
Yeah,
it was literally
we won the league by 0.01. That's what it was.
Literally.
I think what's so interesting about that, though, like you just said, is that like last season you kind of won promotion right at the wire, whereas this season you've kind of been in a driving seat for so long, and I think with that comes a lot more added pressure, to sit at the top of the table and be chased rather than be the chaser, So how's that been, and how have you managed that expectation?
I mean, we realized in the very beginning of preseason that we really needed to. This was a complete different jump for us, at least for me personally, coming from Primera Andaluza to Division de Nord. I didn't really know what the jump was going to be like. So I had to just go in, just no expectations, at least because I have to see it for myself. This is a first experience for me. So preseason came around, realizing, okay, we really need to push here. This is not going to be easy. And first game came around against Estepona, which won the league this year, and we gave them a fought battle.
Yeah,
we
game.
really pushed them to the
I think
wire.
what flipped our switch was the Torre del Mar game, though.
I think that as well.
Yeah, it was a struggle all preseason, but when we played Torre del Mar, even though we lost 2-0, we easily could have tied or won the game. We fought that game too. I think that's where we flipped the switch, and we stayed consistent from there on out.
I totally agree with that. And an interesting thing I've never really shared with many people, but on that evening, obviously Torre del Mar directors and chairman was there, and he said, this team's going to get promoted this year. He said, because they obviously just got promoted the year before us to Tercera. They were going into their first year in Tercera, and he said, that team will get promoted at the end of the season, So I sort of kept it up in my hat, but fair enough, it was a good prophecy that's come true.
Yeah.
Well, he called it.
Yeah.
Luckily, we had a good group of young, hardworking teammates that really, really wanted it. So that was the best part. We all worked so hard, tirelessly. Away games are not easy, and we really fought. I was proud to be on the team. I was very
Everyone
proud.
was committed and ready to just give all in from the start.
I think as well, something big difference from last year. I think the emotion and a bit what James was touching on about how this year we're in the driving seat so long, and for me, since the turn of the year, it's kind of been, if we keep doing things even half right, we're going to get there, we're going to get over the line. As with last year, it was lose or go home,
Yeah,
And
Exactly.
I remember the emotion of the Trabuco game, and
That
everyone,
was-
the emotion that was taken.
No, that
The
was
most emotional game.
Tears at the end
Oh my
and things
gosh.
like that. And obviously last year was kind of like a final. We had to win to go up, and you won. It felt like a cup final.
Yeah.
This year, unfortunately, obviously wasn't the ending maybe we'd want, or the crowning glory, in terms of going away last weekend and a very humbling defeat. Biggest defeat of the season. How'd that feel to come off the pitch? I mean, as you finished the game wearing the captain's armband, what would you describe as, you've had obviously a bit of a beating, unfortunately, and then you come off and you find the results have gone our way and we're in the next league. Objective done.
I remember we were in the changing room. Everyone was just, of course, devastated about the loss, but you see Nestor, there was someone else that was like, it's one loss, it's all right. We've gone the whole season winning, and it happens to the best teams. But but when we hear the news like of getting promoted after losing 5-0, I didn't know whether to be happy or sad, but like
Bittersweet.
And I think it talks a lot about your expectations, and how they've changed over the season. Like, you expect to go into every game now in Division de Honor and win, against a team that's got former La Liga players playing for them, huge crowd. And it was really sort of interesting to see that from you guys. And I think it talks a lot about your mentality this season, wanting to go into every game and win. It's been probable now for some time that we'd get promoted, but again, you know, to finally have that come over the line is really interesting. But one thing I want to touch upon, because, you know, it's a common theme that, you know, when you transition from that youth environment into senior football, you know, we always say, and George always bangs home, that you have to be intense in training every day and every game you go into. But just touch upon that, like how you have to be at 100% going into every game, especially in a league with so much quality.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, it's for sure. I remember last year coming back, playing for the senior team for a season, and then helping out the academy with the Barca game. After a season of seniors, and then you go and play with the academy, you find yourself like, you're able to play and have fun more and express yourself like on the pitch. Like, you just, you do better generally.
Yeah.
Like, it's the intensity between, it's a whole different level. It's a whole different level completely. And
For sure. I mean,
it's kind of unexplainable, really.
and because I remember that game, you dominated, both of you guys who played in that game, and it looked like men playing with boys a little bit, you know, and obviously they're a fantastic team, and it's Barcelona Academy, but obviously they were a year younger, and you saw that you guys had 12 months of men's football, and I thought you really stood out in that game.
I mean, that's the progress you need to be at as a player. If you have to take those months that you did work with the likes of Sean Morris.
Yeah.
I was so happy to be a part and be his teammate that season and learn so much from him. So in the midfield, even though the midfield, it was hard to get into that midfield with Liam, Baca, Sean. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
But I had so much to learn, and because of that, I am where I am at today.
Definitely.
And
Neil, so I mean, we're talking about adjustment into, you know, the last few seasons going to men's football. As a goalkeeper, I think that's probably an even bigger jump, you know, and I don't think defenders, goalkeepers can have an easier transition, although Angel's made it look very simple. You know, huge credit to him, but that's not a common situation for me, and he should be super proud. Obviously yourself, game time this year hasn't been as much. How have you adjusted to that scenario, and what would you sort of talk about in your experiences so far?
I think it's just holding myself accountable on and off the pitch. Like when I'm on the field and practice, like making sure that holding myself to a standard that I'm continuing to get better every day, even though I'm not getting the minutes that I want. But I know that I'm getting better in training, and I'm helping Funes out, making sure he's getting what he needs so we can get the results. Because in the end, we're all a team, and we're trying to get promoted, and now we've done it. But it's just making sure that the person in front of you is at his best, and making sure I'm improving at the same time.
Yeah.
And Angel, for yourself, you know, whenever we talk about anybody that's had success at the club, they always seem to have a common theme of like setting themselves with goals, you know, short and long term. So, you know, looking back to the beginning of the season, what were your personal goals? You know, what did you want to achieve this season? Was it a number of clean sheets, a number of appearances? Just give people an idea on that from your side of things.
Well, considering like being a part of the promotional team last season, I set like a high standard for myself, obviously, because I didn't want to drop that level. So, of course, I wanted to concede at least as much as possible. At one point, we were conceding the least in the league, and we're still one of the top teams who've conceded the least. So, for sure, clean sheets, at least 40%, which is I think it was 35%. I remember keeping that in mind. And trying to not lose any 1v1s. That was, for me, that was like priority. If any 1v1 situations, I wanted to hold it down as much as I could.
That's awesome. And so you guys have all, since you've been in your time here, you know, this is sort of with COVID, you had 2.5, 3 seasons now, okay, you know, you've had a fantastic journey. You've also all had taste and experience outside of the club with professional clubs, you know, going on different experiences and trials. You went to Madrid, you went to Elegido this season with the first team there in Sundaref. And obviously in the summer, you know, you went over to Mallorca and played a game for Cadiz last year. What does it feel like when you go to those clubs? Do you feel prepared? And what's the difference? Why, for example, Mallorca didn't offer you a 3-year contract in the summer? Or what do you think advice you'd give to other players that might get those opportunities?
Well, for sure, it's difficult going into a high-level standard like that, like from Primera Andalucía or Division de Honor straight to a La Liga club.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous, I was a little shaky, but I just need to find my rhythm and my little comfort zone
Yeah.
within that pitch. So I made sure to make like a friend or two.
Yeah.
and then I was able to play a little comfortably around them, especially in my position. I was more focused on my position than my defensive line, so I was talking to them more, and like, I don't know, like that made me
settle in a bit quicker.
That made me settle in a little quicker, yeah.
And you know, Cameron, for yourself, obviously back-to-back promotions, again a huge achievement on a collective level. Where do you find motivation in sort of what's next for you in terms of whether it is, you know, into Sarah next season or whatever may come in your future? What keeps you motivated, and what's your biggest motivating factor?
Honestly, I mean, I think about that a lot too. Like, how am I so motivated? I honestly find it within myself.
Modest as ever coming, huh?
No, honestly, I find motivation in myself, like with my thoughts. Like, I'm always thinking positively. Like, I'm always having a great time because I'm having past experiences. I'm really trying to just enjoy the moment with my friends, with who I'm around. Enjoy going to the cafe, just little things.
Yeah,
eating dinner with them. Like, even if I go by myself, just enjoying every single thing. And I think if you do those little things, you just think positively, and I'm always expecting more for myself, if that makes sense. And I'm just always pushing myself just to the next highest degree because.
Yeah. And I think, George, just coming to you there, like Cameron just said, very fortunate that you've got 3 players here that have come through the youth system and eventually ended up in the senior team, and that's very, you know, that's out of the ordinary. You know, maybe you get 1 player breaking through, or maximum 2, but you've got a good core group of players here that have been through the academy system. What do you think it was about their group that made them so special, you know, and gave them the tools that they needed to you know, progress into to have so much success?
I think it comes from club philosophy as well, and really believing in that process, because don't forget you've got Jacob as well, also started in the under-19s. Nicky was the captain at the start of the season before he went obviously to Sarah Lucena. Kundai started in the academy system as well, has got a lot of minutes this year, you know, so these 3 are obviously the standouts and get a lot of the plaudits, but there's obviously a number more players as well that have been through the same process, and I think it honestly comes down to philosophy and us actually believing that young people can do something and backing them. But these 3 guys, from the second they started here at the academy, was a massive pillar that carried that team, the under-19 team that year for a whole season, and really is consistency. You know, you guys were the best in pre-season, the best at Christmas, and the best by the end of the season, you know, and that showed more, not about your level, because there's lots of good players that come to our academy and our club, as you know, we see them all the time. It said a lot about your character and why we've really bought into you guys and put sort of, you know, gone all in on all 3 of you, you know, and had you here now, straight from U19s to starting players the next year. I think you played every single minute last year.
I did,
in Brandalusa, you know, and this year, bar an injury, you've started every single game again, you know, which for a first-year senior centre-back, you know, I'd go as far as to say is that's unheard of, you know. And but yeah, when we used to have them U19s, it was those 3 names on the sheet, and you put the rest around it and see who could try and help you out on that week or who was in good form, you know. And it was literally like that.
Yeah, but guys, I mean, first of all, great insight from a personal level, but we want to get to know the team a little bit better, you know, on a collective sense. So we're going to do a little bit digging. We need you to be as honest as possible, you know. The people want to know why we've been so successful. So I think it all starts off with the changing room, and one of the keys to that is the music before the game. So who's the man with the tunes pumping before? Who's in charge of that?
That switches up.
It does switch up.
It does switch up.
So you have
who's up there? Who's on the
you
list?
have Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe.
You have
thinks he's-
Jacob.
Kobe.
And sometimes Funes
Yeah.
bangs on his Spanish tunes too.
You know, it's,
And is it a mix?
Oh,
Like,
man.
Oh,
It's a mix
every
of literally
type of
everything.
song.
Kobe's music to Funes' music is the biggest change I've ever seen.
Yeah.
To sometimes even the Africans playing their music too.
Yeah.
There's 2
So
different
it's-
music sometimes. Imagine.
There's so many languages going in
So
and
many
out. So many languages.
I love it though.
I know,
love
it's
it.
great.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
And who's the best trainer? Who's the hardest trainer?
Hardest trainer.
Hardest.
When
Come
you
on,
go-
throw
I'm
some
trying to-
names
I'm
out
trying
there.
to-
Tell
When
us.
you
You know,
go
I'll
into
put-
the small side at the end, who do you want on your team? Yes or yes to make sure you.
You
to
want
be honest,
Pape on your
I'll
team.
have
You
to give
want
it to
Pape.
Pape. I'll have
You want
to give it
Pape
to
on your
Pape,
team.
yeah.
Yeah, Papa.
Yeah, you do.
He wants to win his tournament.
wants
If you're not on his team,
And
he's
he'll
coming
win
for
it,
your
huh?
ankles.
Toughest player on the team in terms of who would run through a brick wall or who you wouldn't want to get on the wrong
tackle.
side of?
Again,
He will come for your
Going
ankles.
for a clean sweep here.
Yeah.
I think I know this one, but fastest player on the team.
Oof. Honestly, I would put Jacob up there. Jacob's
he
quick.
is a quick guy.
He is
Yeah.
quick.
Quicker
He's
than
quick.
Bradley?
Oh,
okay.
I was about to say like Bradley.
Okay, I thought you were
yeah.
talking about. Okay, yeah.
He's been out, he has a
yeah,
serious
Bradley's
injury,
been
but-
unfortunately out
Injured,
for a
but
little bit.
He's
but
definitely
So-
the quickest on the team.
Besides Bradley,
yeah.
that's for sure Bradley.
That's Aaron's
But
team,
now we're
yeah.
looking at the real people. Like
Humans.
We're now looking at humans.
humans, yeah.
Honest.
You want to say it yourself? I can see it.
No, no.
Yeah, chuck me in there. I
You
think
know, I'll give Jacob a run for his money,
But
but
this one, I think we've definitely got some contenders here with us. Who's the worst dressed when you're not in tracksuit?
Worst dress.
I'm not even gonna lie. Maybe I think it is me. I know it is me. But I just don't care.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
Comfort.
All right, comfort over
Comfort
style.
first. Comfort first.
We talked a little bit about this one backstage, but the Nutmeg King in practice, who's got?
Oh,
I
taking that
gotta
one.
put myself
I'm,
up there.
I'm not lying to you when I promise you I get a meg every training session.
No, that's so false.
Today was Manu. Sorry, Manu.
Kobe, close your legs, right? Kobe,
There's
yeah,
a,
exactly.
there's a few tricky players in the mix though, right? You've got some quick-feeted
Pablo
wingers on there as well. Pablo Maldonado, does he not
Yeah.
come into the equation?
He-
or-
Not for Megs.
He's not
No,
like a
not
he's
a
not
Meg-
a
not a
like
Meg.
a very
Go for
skillful.
Megs.
He's super sharp.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
he's quite skillful.
I meant
He's kind of skillful.
No, he
I
is
meant
skillful,
with
He is
like a
skillful.
freaking
Oh,
going
I'm
for
still
megs and
crying.
bongo flicks or something like that. You know.
And I think this is going to be a very difficult one to differentiate, because there's so many sort of contenders. But for you on a personal level, we'll go around all three. I need one name and one name only.
Oh no.
Player of the season. Who's been your standout this year?
Gosh.
Player of the season.
You know,
Neil looks like he's got a name there.
We'll have to think about this
I'm gonna
one.
put my buddy here, Angel, just holding that back line down. Honestly.
Big one.
You can't say Cameron now.
He's going to watch. I'm ready. I'm
Thing
ready. I'm
is,
ready. I'm
It's
ready.
so hard to pick a name.
It is.
Yeah.
Everyone's had their moments and played important roles like in every game. Like
I love to press to win, by the way.
Yeah.
What about you, Neil?
with consistency, Cameron.
It's just,
Cameron
if it's
does
consistency, that would Cameron.
It's cute. Yeah, it's cute.
Thanks, guys.
I'm not even trying to
No.
be like a friend, whatever. Throwing.
No, I think there's a lot of players there that could get thrown
There's
into the
so
mix.
many
You can
players.
make an argument for any of them, but guys, a lot of fun, learning about the team and about yourselves. But I think most importantly, when we've got three players on that have got the experience at the club, like yourselves, have been through the academy ranks and now obviously at the pinnacle of the club. I think we need to close off by a bit of advice. You've all been on your own trials. You've been out to clubs. You've been again representing us on such an elite level now. But for the young players sort of coming through, final thoughts on the experience as a whole, and obviously what you'd advise players coming through now.
Oh, just don't get caught in all the talk. So many players, I've talked with a lot of players, they just get so caught up in the talk.
Yeah.
You really need to put your head down and just work. Don't worry what anybody says. Don't tell anything to anyone. Just work hard. Just work.
Shut out the noise.
Just head down and work.
I completely agree. Sometimes you just got to stay in your lane and.
Just do your work.
That's the best
And believe in
advice.
yourself.
I
Just
agree
believe
with
in
that.
yourself the whole way.
Yeah.
Because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. And just
It gets tiring. It does
does.
get tiring mentally, physically, but you got to stay focused.
The sacrifice is worth it. If
It
you
is
think
worth
it's
It
worth
is
it,
100% worth
it will
it.
be worth it.
100% worth it.
You're doing the right thing if you think it's worth it.
And George, just on that note, I don't think we'd be doing the team justice if we didn't mention obviously the coaching staff there in Juan Carlos, Rafa, Paco, Shem as well, who's on next. But just a final word on that before we do get the coaches on.
No, I think for me it's very special to be. I consider myself a friend of you guys, and not just the academy director here, and to have been able to meet you guys, meet your families in lots of instances, and carrying on being part of this journey. I think you guys are on the start of something that could be very special. You're serial winners. You've played 2 senior years as men's footballers, and you've won both years, so you can't do any better. So I'd bottle up what you've done the last 2 years and try to challenge yourself. Every day's an interview when you come back into pre-season next year, whether that's at Malaga City, whether we're fortunate you're a professional club, wherever. Keep doing exactly the same thing because it's clearly working, and you should be extremely proud of yourselves and everyone in your extended community for sure as well. You guys are a huge credit, and thank you for everything so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Shem Jimenez, who's obviously, again, a player that's been with the club as a player and now transitioned into coaching. We've got a funny video coming up. I know Shem's looking forward to seeing it, obviously. Samuel Linares, obviously the head coach who finished up with Almun, overseeing that promotion push. So, looking forward to that. Wow, amazing to look back at the roots of the club, and amongst that, obviously a very young-looking Shem Jimenez. Shem, how does it feel to look back on footage like that?
Nostalgic, honestly. No, it's been a long 7 years, but at the same time, it feels so short looking back on those videos. I miss those guys so much, and it just brings back so many memories, so many feelings, so many moments. But yeah, it's been incredible.
Just give people an idea of that. Like you said, you're going on your 7th year here with the club, and so obviously you started at what age?
I started here at 16, I believe, 2015. I came in straight out of school. Wanted to be a football player, so jumped on the opportunity to come here in a professional environment and stuff. So I came here 7 years ago.
Yeah, and now obviously on the coaching stuff. So give us an idea in that 7 years, your transition and your journey through the club.
So obviously I came 2015 as a player in the academy system. Was here for 2 years. Got asked back as a senior player, which was unreal for me. I didn't expect to. After the second academy year, I had a trial with Granada. And after that, I honestly expected to just go home. I thought, well, honestly, I expected, right, well, this is my football career done now. I haven't made it. Fortunate enough, George asked me to come back as a senior player in my first year, play with Almun City, which was incredible. Playing in the stadium, playing as senior football, getting promotion was an incredible year. Second year on senior football, went with the 23s, and also had a tough year. And kind of then at that point decided maybe coaching was going to be the option. George, luckily enough, offered me an opportunity to stay on as a coaching staff and be an assistant for Alvaro. And ever since, I've just loved it. I've loved the opportunity of being on that other side of football, seeing that perspective. So, yeah.
Hey, talk a little bit about, I mean, you played your career down there. I thought you were a massive part of the start of our journey, especially with Malaga City. And, for me, I don't think people realise sometimes why we have gone from, the lower leagues now, Division or Tercera. Obviously, everyone's interested all of a sudden. I don't think people get that it's do whatever it takes kind of attitude. We're humble, we're not superstars, we're not got the most fancy things or anything, but I mean, you've been a goalkeeper.
Yeah, no, I've played everywhere, quite literally every position. But no, I think ever since from the start, from the beginning, we've had an attitude of winning every game. I remember you used to say records. Yeah. I think score the most goals, concede the least goals. Ever since we went to Andaluza, so I think that's a positive mindset and attitude that we've set from the beginning.
And it's kept
always
going.
Looking, and we've always kept going, and we've always wanted to get promoted. And I think
I'll still never get my personal favourite is when some of the teams around here you didn't see as much. You used to have the sand pitches still.
Yeah.
And we went to
I played keeper on the sand pitch.
At Malaga, we had no goalie, he was injured, and Shem was brave enough to go in goal.
No,
we were 1-1 right to the end, and they had every village idiot there that day, and conceded literally 96th minute or so. And I remember him diving for it, but when you're not a keeper, you dive like Superman.
I don't remember that.
And then ate a face full of sand, and then someone threw a beer on top of us.
It was a bit more spectacular in my head.
Character building, I think, is the word you're looking for.
Honestly.
But I mean, Shem, you mentioned there, looking back, and I was going through the archives yesterday, all the old footage, and you're looking at people, from your Elliot Simmons, Ellis Reeds, Trey Hayes in there as well. You've had some fantastic players that have come through the club. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit and ask you, who kind of stands out for you the most in terms of that? Because we've had some very talented guys come through the club.
For me, always being a younger player, I was always looked up to the players like Trey's, and Elliot was my age, but he was a level above me. So I always looked up to these type of players. But honestly, the players that we just had in, the Camerons, the Neils, the Angels, for me, ever since they've came in, they've surprised me every day in training sessions. They've always kept improving their attitude. I think they're standouts for me in the academy.
Yeah, I think so too. What do you think, without going off of script too much, say like a Danny Mulholland, who for me had a lot of talent as well. Why has Danny Mulholland not been a success here at our club, or, necessarily, I'm sure he's playing football, still doing well back home, but why didn't he stick here in the same way that, say, Cameron has?
Don't want to put him on the spot. I like the lad, but he didn't have the dedication that these lads have. Off the pitch was a completely different character. He was very good, a very good football player. But you can tell there's a different mindset with these lads, that they're dedicated day in, day out to improve. And I felt like Danny, he had a great time, but he was living in the moment. He wanted to have fun. He wasn't dedicated to being a professional football player like these lads are.
That's really interesting. And leading on from that then, so obviously you came here when we were starting the academy as just a player, so you were living the experience we see the young guys get to live now. It's obviously a dream. You go to all these clubs, they've just come back from Valencia and Villarreal yesterday. You've lived that, you've then transitioned to 23s, you're now at the top of the pyramid assisting with the first team, and now obviously we're talking about a lot of names here, people going, who the hell are these guys? We've just been around that long, that we remember everyone. What do you see, or do you see a difference in the boys that come in, say now with Biri or with Adrian or the U19s compared to when you came in, or that group of players?
I think when I came in, it was a lot of a mix of ages. I think
Yeah,
that was a
it's true.
bit different, and it was we didn't have expectations as such as they do now. Obviously, us being more of a named academy, everyone knows what they expect. We kind of came in with no expectations, thinking, who are we going to play against? Are we playing against Trabuco on the weekend, or are we going to play against Barcelona? We had no idea. And now they come in with those expectations, and I think you can see that. And I think the level has risen so much throughout all the academy teams, and the level of coaching is so good. And that they do get these opportunities to play against these clubs week in, week out, basically, is incredible. And you see the players coming in, and the dedication, and you see them every day. I think it was different. It was a different mindset when we came into the academy. We didn't know what to expect.
That's awesome.
And I think very quickly, Shem, like we preach it all the time, when you come here, that you do meet friends for life and things like that. And we've just mentioned there quickly, you're still in touch with a lot of these boys that you were playing with,
100%.
5, 6, 7 years ago. So, do you still keep in touch with the guys right from the beginning?
I do. I think when you have an experience of a 10-month season, you're so intimate. It's like such a family environment. You see them every day, literally every day. You eat with them, you live with them. So I think you do make friends for life, 100%. You make those bonds. And it is sad a lot. Like at the end of the season, you get to see a lot of them go, and they're not going to come back. But I'm still in contact with a lot of people that I've made friends for life with, for sure.
Amazing. And just flipping to the coaching side now. So how have you found that transition? Obviously, you've worked with some fantastic coaches, some of the best in the club, to be honest with you. You mentioned Adrian and Alvaro there, and now obviously with Juan Carlos. So talk to us about that transition. Was it something that was always on your mind, or did it just kind of present itself as an option? Or
yeah, I think when I was a player, I always saw football as like I wouldn't say like a chess game, but I always saw it as a bit more of a tactical analysis, maybe than other players did.
Yeah, I think that's
and I've really enjoyed the side of it, of seeing and I'm putting an objective into a training session and see it come into fruition during the game. And I think that's the best sensation as a coach. You see something happen that you've worked on in the training ground, and that sensation has always stayed with me ever since I started with coaching. And I've really enjoyed the fact of working with kids and working with players and seeing them improve and having that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you see this now as something you're going to stick on this journey on? I mean, obviously you're doing UEFA B at the moment. Congratulations on that. It's a really good step for you. Took you a few more years to get onto it. But do you think then it'll be UEFA A and keep learning and assisting?
100%. 100%. I think that the last 2 years I've really came on my coaching. I feel way more confident. My messaging, the way I can get across to players, and the way that I can see the game and analyse in the moment, not have to go back and then think about it. In the moment now, I feel way more confident in stopping a training session and saying, look, this is what we need to improve on. It's the objectives that we need to put across. And I feel like I can improve as a coach, and I feel like I'm looking forward to that.
You've got an interesting dynamic. Obviously, you're still very young as a coach. I mean, it feels like you've been here forever, but you're still a fairly young guy. And you're working in a coaching team now with a lot of experience, but also a squad that, while it's very young, there's a few experienced heads in there as well that are obviously older than you. How is it being on the turf where people that are older than you maybe have been better footballers than you were, or more experienced than you had as a football player, and you're now trying to help and guide them to win a game on the weekend? Do you have any trouble with that, or any people
Not so much, no, because I feel like I try to keep a little bit of a distance. I try not to be too friendly with the players and make too much of a friendship, because it can get to the point where they won't listen to you as they should as a coach. So I feel like I've never had a problem stopping a player, it doesn't matter how old, who they are, if they're my friend or not, and saying, look, I think you need to improve on this. And I don't think that they see me as someone they wouldn't respect. So I think that's important. I think that respect is important to have as a coach, and I believe that I have that in the squad, and no, I've never found that a problem.
And here's a question for you. Is there anything you've learned as a coach that you wish you knew as a player?
Oh, so much. So much. I think you do play differently. I think now when I jump into training sessions or when I play, I do think I see the game differently. You kind of see steps ahead and think, okay, if I play here, he's going to be free. If I move here, there'll be space there. And I think, definitely, there's so much I've learned as a coach that it would have made me a better player if I knew.
And I think, George, as much as we put confidence in sort of young players at the club, we also put a lot of confidence in young coaches. We mentioned Shem there, and the man sat to his right there, Samer, is another 29-year-old coach that's achieved a lot this year. So maybe just touch upon that philosophy. And
I think, for me, football is always going to be the same. It's always going to be a round ball, 2 goals, and we love to overcomplicate it and talk so much about it. I think the key, what we always look at as a club philosophy, is people. Trying to find the right people. If you can see someone that's got good values, I mean, Shem has been with us, we've lived with him, we've gone away on tours with him, seen how his character is, and then when he came into, you know, assisting with the U23 sort of on the peripheral, he's gone above and beyond. Can you help? You know, we've got a problem. This player needs to go to a bus stop or a doctor's appointment. He's always there and hands-on and a can-do mentality. And you want to surround yourselves with those types of people. And so the rest he can learn. He's working with some great coaches, and I think that's why, you know, if you're got the right attitude, then you're old enough and you're ready. But Sam, I had the pleasure. I remember I first came back to this region from overseas. I remember seeing a sprightling young holding midfield player when we were training at Vélez when they were still in Tercera then. So the first interaction that I had with him, and I thought he was a very intelligent player. He was almost a bit like a Guardiola, Busquets kind of football player. Unfortunately, he hung the boots up very young, and he's started a very, very strong coaching career, and is known as one of the best young coaches in the region. And so when the opportunity came to work with him, incorporate him into the academy last year, for me it was an absolute no-brainer. And then to see his progression, and I think, you know, we'll see how his English is now, but when he first came to the club, his English was very limited, to be honest. And for someone to put upon themselves to learn a language that quickly, and obviously learning all the time, but congratulations to you, Sam. Congratulations for your promotion with Malaga City.
Thank you. No, it's a pleasure to be here. And James, maybe you are so nervous because I say to you twice, I am 28 years old, not 29.
That's 29, yeah.
Maybe you are nervous now. It's okay to be here, and guys, excuse my English, but I say to you before, with that English we get the promotion, so it's good enough, it's good enough.
No, it certainly is. And Sammy, like we've mentioned, obviously you've come into this football club and you've worked with pretty much every coach within the club, you know, over the course of this season and last. Tell us what it's like as a young coach working in this club, in this environment.
No, it's good, it's good. Obviously, it's a professional environment, so I am enjoying it. And obviously, you can see the difference between other clubs from the first day. And obviously, I am so happy to be here. And I want to keep here, to stay here, and now keep working on that.
And obviously a lot of success there. You've got the Primera Andalusia trophy sat there to your left. But just quickly, like, how did you know? Obviously coming off of the Guadix game, how did it feel to win the final? Was it relief? What was the emotion like in the final?
No, it was an emotional moment, and now it's easy to say that it was incredible because we won the game, you know. Yeah. But obviously it was so hard to play away. It was a strange game because it was behind doors closed, you know. And it was a different game to be a final, but finally we get the target, we get the promotion, so really happy about that.
Definitely. And, you know, looking at the season, a lot of changes, George, that went through, but, I mean, you both played a big part in it. So, I mean, how did you find the season overall? You came in sort of January, February time, right?
For Christmas.
Yeah, from Christmas, in December, starting December. First game against Guadix, last game against Guadix, so completing the circle. So it's good. And I arrived on December, and now, if you look back, it was a hard road, no? But anyway, I enjoy it. And as I said, now it's easy to say it was incredible, it was good, it was happy moments. But obviously it was difficult. It's not easy to win that trophy, you know. And so happy. It was a good experience for me, for sure.
And Sam, am I correct? This is your first time in senior coaching, senior football?
Yes, it's my first time coaching senior players. I have spent like 5 years coaching, but coaching under 14 players, under 16, under 19s. But it was my first experience coaching a senior team, senior players. And obviously you can see the difference. Mm-hmm. You can see the difference. But anyway, it was easy for me because everyone was helping me. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to work on that club with all the people working on that, helping every day, with you especially, you know. So it was different, but thanks for everyone because it was easier with your help.
Yeah. And so question, personal one, if for whatever reason you weren't at Malaga City in 22-23 and you went out to work at another club, Would you prefer to carry on in senior football, or would you think to go back to junior youth team coaching?
Now I am in a point that after of winning this cup with a senior team, I want to keep training senior teams. But anyway, I like to help everyone. You know, especially in the academy when I am into the pitch, I don't care if it's my team or not. I love to help everyone, especially the young players. You know, so I am ready for everything. But now in that point, I want to keep training senior teams.
And how does that change, Samir, with the training in terms of the younger teams versus the seniors? You're going from a focus on development, right, to must-win games on a Saturday or a Sunday to push for promotions and things like that. So how as a coach do you change between the ages?
No big difference to be honest, because I love to compete everywhere, so no big difference. Obviously you can see the difference because you now, for example, you are coaching people that maybe he's father of a little boy, so it's different to coach a player with 40 years old, for example, or 35 years old, than a player with 19 years old. So I can choose the difference, but for me, it's no big difference because I love to compete everywhere. And for me, I don't care the age, you know, of the players of the team. I love to compete, so no big difference for me.
Yeah. And same question to you, Shem. I mean, you've coached the academy last season, obviously the senior teams this year. Any difference in approach for you?
I did see the difference in the sense of training sessions, how you set up a training session. I feel like in senior football, you kind of have the objective of this weekend. You know, you don't really look further than
how they play.
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of set up on your rival team and how they're going to play, weaknesses, strengths. And I feel that was a massive difference. Objectives to specific training sessions, to if the team's going to play with a high line, a low block, that kind of stuff was different for me than being with the academy. It was more just general, general improvement, technically and tactically. So I think that was the main difference.
And obviously, you got two youngest coaches really at the academy. Start with you, Shem. What's your ambition if you had to write down now your utopia and your dream that when you're as old as James, you know, we're nearly 40?
I can't imagine that.
Where do you see yourself, or where would you love to wake up tomorrow and
honestly, right now, I would love to see myself as Malaga City head coach in 5 years in a Segunda B and a Segunda. Wow. I think that would be incredible. I don't really see further than the next 4 or 5 years because I would like to concentrate on my short-term development, and I think 5 years is long enough. But yeah, I think continue here at a senior level and get into a head coach role, and yeah, hopefully with Malaga City.
And Samir, I'm going to ask you both this because obviously, Shem, you were part of the coaching staff last year that obviously won promotion from the Primera Andalusa. Samir, you've just won your first Primera Andalusa as a recurring theme here, you know. But tell us what does it take over the course of a season? What do teams and players need to have to win a trophy at the senior level? You know, whether it is Division Day or not, whether it's Primera Andalusa.
You can go first.
Maybe sounds like a typical, no, but hard work every day. You know, we spend too much time working on that. Every morning, every video session, every gym session, so it's hard work, work day by day, clear ideas, be a family, and I don't have the secrets, you know. This year it works, and for me the special point is that the hard work every day. Sounds typical, I know, but it's true, it's the truth.
No, I agree with that. It's hard to say. It's hard to put your finger on exactly what is the key to success. But I think it is the dedication from all the players and coming into the setup and really commitment to the cause, committing to Juan Carlos's ideas, and same as last year really, same committing to Adrian's idea and saying, look, this is what we're going to do as a team, and this is how we're going to go into every game with that positive attitude, the positive mindset that we are the best team in the league and we are going to win. And I think that's it.
I think, you know, as a club and what we're trying to say is, you know, you have to try and control what you can control. Yeah. So if you need 20 footballs for the session, there's 20 footballs there. That depends on the coaching team and not the first month, everything's going to be perfect, the bibs are there washed and the cones are there, and then when you get to February, we've lost 10 balls and we can't bother to wash the kit anymore. It's keeping your standards and what you can control as much of the time. You know, one day maybe someone's car breaks down, they had some of the equipment or whatever, you can't control that, you know, it's bad luck. And then for me as well, I think a massive point, you have to be almost like a machine and just day to day to day, like you're saying, the hard work, but keep it going and keep your highs low and your lows high. You know, you win
Enrique on that.
You win 5-0 against Guadix, and we don't come in the next Monday and I won't bother training today because we won 5-0. We do exactly the same as you would any Monday, and that consistency. And then, you know, we go and draw 1-1 last game of the season with Salah. Ollie Greaves gets a red card, and it looks like a disaster for the playoffs. Well, don't get too down about that either. We went again and we got it done. But
that's a good point.
Guys, absolutely incredible to have you both on. Congratulations on 2 incredible seasons, and I'm excited to see you as head coach of Malaga City and when Juan Carlos is kicked out, and I'll let him know it was your fault as well. But we're going to get moving.
Yeah, Alessandro and Michael Boffey, 2 players that have obviously worked under Samer this year, and 2 players, again, that have come through the academy system. So excited to see what they have to say.
You gotta keep them separated.
You have to go from one.
Gotta keep them separated. You gotta keep them separated.
So fortunate at a club to have not only young players but young coaches, which have brought some great insight today. And moving straight on from Samer and Shem, I'm delighted to introduce part of the title winning triumphs, Alessandro Briggs, Michael Boffey. Welcome to the show, guys.
Let's go. Those of you who don't know, I'm Alessandro. I'm American, came from California. Been with this academy for 2 years. Great experience. I love every second of it. It's been great. I love it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we always, you know, preach about youth development, George, and, you know, these guys are kind of the proof that we need to sort of back that up. So, Alessandro, starting from you, you've been with the academy sides last year, you know, transition, I think, by the end into the 23 setup, and now obviously at a senior level of football. Tell us what the biggest change for you has been over this last year, and the biggest lesson learned.
Yeah, the biggest change is definitely the players around you. They're much more higher IQ. You gain a lot of intelligence, and you could learn a lot from the players in that sense. That's what I think changed the most.
Yeah.
I think, you know, obviously you guys are 2003 born, so, you know, in the Spanish system you're still under 19 players, you know, but I mean, you've pretty much exclusively played a lot of minutes, you know, this year in senior football. Do you feel that's something that's aided you, or do you ever look back and think I would rather have kept on playing U19 football a bit longer?
I think it's helped me a lot in my development personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, for sure.
Yeah. And again, like, you've come to the end of the season now. Obviously, it's ended in silverware, and for you, Alessandro, having played like a lot of minutes, like George touched upon there. Talk about the sort of the reward of the end of the season, because I imagine in your youth days it kind of comes around, and you know, you rest and recover, and then it's back again in sort of 2 months. But this ends with sort of something to kind of show for it, if that makes sense. Right. So, you know, looking at the season as a whole, how did it go, and how does it feel to be here at the end line with the trophy?
It's a long season. You got to stay focused the whole season. 10 months is a long time, and you got to stay focused every second of it and be ready for that final to the end. It's a little difficult how it played out with our season, with the 4 teams going for playoffs, and we stayed through until the end and stayed as a team and worked together, and we came through.
And I think you guys had sort of different journeys in terms of your seasons. Obviously at the start, you had a really strong pre-season. I think you scored against Almeria, was one of the first goals you scored in pre-season, and then had a lot of minutes, a little bit maybe of a dip in form, was in and out of the team rather than starting every single game. and sort of pick yourself back up and had a really strong finish. And then obviously yourself, Michael, you had to be patient, played a lot of games in the 23s, and sort of came in at the end as well.
At the end of the season, yeah.
Talk through that. How did you feel? And were you frustrated? What was your takeaway from the season?
Well, I thought, like, I think during that 2-month period where I was a bit in a blimp period without playing and stuff, I thought just, you know, I got to work in training day in, day out, just, you know, who's in front of me, how have I got to, like, do better, you know. But when the chance came in the end, I was just grateful and, like, you know, this is for promotion, you know. So
what was it like to start in the promotion semi-final?
I think nerves all over the place, to be honest. I mean, completely honest. Just everything, like, you know, the whole 10th-month project all depends on this game, you know. So, but I think
good atmosphere, no?
Oh, flares going off, bloody crazy fans. But yeah, I think once Jamo scored that absolute worldie of a goal.
Cheers, Michael.
It just, you know, get your rhythm into the game, get that, like, locked in, focused. And I think I still had that sixth sense of nerve in my system, but you know.
What makes you sort of come, obviously, you know, from Australia, and you could probably play a good level back there. What makes you choose to be away from family and, you know, live in Spain? And
I think through my football career in Australia, just reaching, because NPL is the highest you can achieve at, like, a semi-professional level.
Yeah.
Until the A-League. And once you reach the top of the NPL system, there's no real outlet after that. And I thought, obviously, you know, Spain, Europe, there's so many doors and outlets for professional football or a career in the sport, you know. So I think this club has given me such a good chance to express myself and give me all, like, the options to provide.
And one thing I want to touch upon, because not enough people sort of realise it in Spain, is that obviously you have the 23s or the B team system as well, which for young players like yourselves enabled you maybe when you weren't necessarily in the starting 11 for the first team or you know, getting minutes, to also go away on a Sunday with the 23s who were also pushing for a promotion and get valuable minutes in there. So talk to us about how that sort of works. You know, it's very intense, obviously, because you're playing a lot of minutes over the course of the season, but also gave you valuable game time, which is essential in terms of your development.
Yeah, well, coming into the 23s at the start of the season as well, we were off to, like, a flying start, and I thought Uye's tactics, also sharing international and Spanish players in the same team, is quite a hard thing, you know. But obviously that step from juvenile, like, youth team into men's football, it still gives you, like, a chance, you know. Even it's not like senior team, it's still, like,
competing against senior players.
Exactly, you know. It still gives you a chance to platform yourself and then move up the ranks. And
George, I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here, because, you know, at the beginning of the show we obviously had Cameron, Angel and Neil, and over here now we've got, you know, Alessandro and Michael. Two very different journeys in terms of one going down the Almun route and one going the Malaga City route. Just tell us what, you know, this club is able to do in terms of those two different pathways and what both kind of offer in different ways.
Firstly, you're not coming again.
Great question, though.
No, but I think a lot of people get confused and don't realise all the time. And people say, what's Almun City? What's Malaga City? Are they related? Is it the same thing? And I think we're an academy. We're a player development platform, and it's obviously horses for courses. You know, this year, if Michael had gone into, say Malaga City with Juan Carlos, you've got Pancho playing left back, you've got Nestor, you've got Pablo, you had a lot of options there. Probably wouldn't have had much chance to see the field. And of course, the Almun Under 23 project this year, we put a lot into it to try and get that team promoted as well. They play in the second regional rather than the third regional. And so it's looking at the best journey for each player, you know, and obviously you've trained the whole season near enough with the seniors. And now that we've managed to get the promotion, which didn't look all that likely at one time until you decided to turn up for the season, put a couple of goals in. It's enabled us now to have a Division Honor team and a Tercera club, so we've got a national level category and then only one league behind with Almun, where we're going to carry on going, you know, full pedal to the metal with both, you know, to try and get two Tercera teams, and why not a Segunda Ref team as well, you know. And by the same token, I think the journey I've watched you be on this year has been incredible, and have been fortunate enough to have played some minutes and shared the pitch with you as well. Sometimes playing left wing, and to see you become such a big part. And I always think you seem to have this knack this year of scoring these important goals. I mean, I don't know if you remember the Padul game. It just sticks out for me.
I was going to ask you for one moment in particular, Alessandro. Was it Padul that kind of sticks out from the season? Or?
It's been a lot of good moments, honestly, but that Padul goal was
Let's not forget as well the Cuya Vega one at the beginning of the season, the Andalusia Cup. You've got a pretty impressive highlight reel from
just from those two, yeah. But the Padul game, the environment, the sensation after the game, scoring a 90-minute goal.
And so far out as well.
Yeah, so far out, just insane.
But how have you found that? Like, you know, coming now, we've got obviously in America a lot more local players, you know, some veteran players as well, you know, say like a Rafa, Sergi, you know, our captain, people like that. How has it been for you guys coming in and sharing a dressing room with people that are not only a different age demographic to yourselves, but obviously different languages, different backgrounds? Talk us through that. What do you sort of feel about it?
I think, like the likes of Rafa and Sergi, they've had experience in these leagues before, and just like when you enter the pitch with them, you feel comfortable like having them like on your side. I find, especially I think the Medina Lorca game, it was at the home debut I made, I think, and I just had Rafa on my side. I just felt like really comfortable next to him, just like drag me into position and stuff. But yeah, just having like a role model to look up to as well in the dressing room.
But in terms of like friendships and relationships, is it more difficult to build with the language barrier, or have you picked up some Spanish?
You can always say like sí, bien. I mean, but yeah, I think just age difference as well. But it kind of it's not really a language barrier. It's kind of like you know what I mean?
Everyone speaks one universal language here,
exactly.
right? It's football. But you know, in the same vein, I think what we really want to do is get an insight again, like we did earlier, from the team as a whole, right? So we're going to put you guys under the spot a little bit, starting with you, Alessandro. So you know, first question: who have you enjoyed playing with the most this season, and why? If you had to name one,
I'm gonna have to say Charlie, because his play on the field is just remarkable. I love seeing him play, and you could learn so much from a player like that, honestly.
That's a great answer. Boff?
I think for me, on the other side of the pitch, but I think Silvio. I think just trying to take some like notes from him as well. Just he's had experience in England as well, and just like wow, he's a very quick and powerful fullback. Just trying to aspire to be that as well.
Great answer.
Good on everyone.
Yeah.
Mine's James Dawes, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was hoping for my name to be dropped in there, but it doesn't look like that's happening.
Second on the list, James.
What would you say, as a collective, maybe not on an individual level, but as a team, was the most pivotal moment to the title-winning season?
Obviously, I think picking up the trophy in the dressing room after the Guadix game had to be. But there's so many moments throughout this game, like Padul game, that we gained those points. Yeah, that's for me, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a lot of tough games that we had to go through, but we kept a clean sheet, not a clean sheet. We stayed. Oh gosh.
Great answer, Ali. I think this is a really important one that I want to ask you guys as younger players. Biggest lesson you'll take away from this season?
I think for me is definitely the jump from youth football to senior. I think just adapting yourself in that environment. Like Angel said before, he had a full season in Primera Andalusa, and then he drops down for a couple of weeks with the 19s. You just feel like, wow, I feel like, a bit dominant, not to be.
Yeah.
It's just that gap.
You're training with the 19s again now, right?
Yeah.
Ready for the Barcelona trip.
Yeah.
Have you felt a difference from what you're saying?
I really have. Yeah, I felt that difference. And training the other day, just just in the possession drills and stuff. I'm like, wow, it's a different ball game when you're in the senior and in the 19s.
Mm-hmm. Ali, most important characteristic you think for young players to be successful at the senior level?
I think you just got to keep learning from the more experienced players, honestly, because they could help you so much, guide you through your career, and you'll learn a lot of good things through them.
Yeah.
I
think last but not least, if you could, and we all, go through, even with the success we've had, if you could change anything from the season, what would it be, if anything?
If I have to be brutal, I think not conceding as many away games throughout the season. I think there was a lot of times where we could have won some away games and we kind of just threw it away some games. But I think on a whole, as 15 games, 15 wins at home, you know, it's just, wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable record. But
Kept it safe at home.
Yeah.
That's what we got.
And Ali, we'll sort of wrap it up because obviously it's really fitting that, you know, we head to Barcelona in sort of a week's time, and obviously that great memory. We'll watch a video soon with you netting a banger against Barca at La Masia, which again for any young aspiring footballer is just a dream come true. I must imagine. I haven't had the pleasure of doing it myself, but tell us, you've scored at La Masia, you've won a title with, you know, you've won Primera Andalusa. What's one moment from your time over the 2 years at the academy that sort of sticks out above the rest? You know, your most proud moment.
Yeah, obviously winning the season is a great goal, and I love doing that for this team. Scoring a Barca was just unbelievable. Atmosphere, great. Having a 1-0 lead at halftime, and it was the Padul game also. That was, man, there's so many great highlights, honestly. I have to say the Barca game, though.
Yeah. And George, you know, just looking at these two fine young men in front of you, you know, you must be filled with a lot of sort of pride. And how far do you think these two players can go?
No, I think, you know, any young player, when you sort of dip your toe in the water and it's kind of an experiment, you never know if it's going to be sink or swim. You know, I'm just more than where they go. I think realise what you've done. And that was a very fierce environment at Chiriana. And all the things you've taken from this season. I think to go into a game like that, like you said, flares, crowd trouble, police there, and you haven't had a huge amount of minutes in, let alone senior football, but that kind of environment, to play a full 90 and do as well as you did, and you know, you've been a warrior all year. You know, people are noticing it. Some of the tackles you get, some of the attention you're getting from defences is not that pleasant, and you've never complained. You just get up and keep playing. I think you'll look back and you'll realise maybe next season or in 2 or 3 years what you guys have achieved right now, and I think enjoy the moment and now rest and then prepare for the new season and what's to come. But massive congratulations to you both, and I think a lesson as well, obviously a little bit about in on negative, what you had to experience with the licensing issue to miss the final and to still show your character of the joy and success. You know, I remember you flying into the dressing room after the game. You know, that's
emotions everywhere.
another massive life lesson for you guys.
Yeah. Guys, firstly, thank you so much. You know, it's been another incredible show, you know, to have the insight of people that have been around the club for a number of years now, and to see that rewarded with success at all levels is just, it's amazing to listen and to hear. George, you know, sort of from your side, listening to these guys.
I think you know, it's easy to sit here at the end of the season and we've won everything which we wanted to, apart from the 23s. But it's easy to sit here, almost not gloat and boast, but we all feel very good of ourselves right now. But I think let's not forget where we started and the hard work we put in. You know, in the away game in pre-season in Mijas, you know, which was very difficult, and other parts during the season which we've had to make really difficult decisions. You know, so it's easy sitting here now with the trophy in your pocket and all the work we've done, but it's been a long journey and it's not finished yet. You know, you guys are going to Barcelona next week at U19 level, which is, you know, for you, not a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity because you've done it last season, but hopefully you can score more than one goal this time. But I think it just shows that one day you're winning a trophy up in Guadix, and then a week later, you know, you're going on a plane to go and play against Barcelona, and it's all coming very quickly. Make sure you spend the correct amount of time to reflect on it and actually enjoy it as well, you know. But amazing show, and thanks to yourself as well, and a sincere congratulations on scoring such an important goal.
Hello, James.
No, and like George says, we've obviously got the second leg of the female playoff this weekend, so the girls still playing for promotion, and we're really confident that they're going to get the job done there. So best of luck to the girls and the academy. Obviously, they'll be heading to Barcelona this week. So thank you once again to everybody supporting us, whether it's online or, you know, here in person, and you know, in 2 months we do this all over again, you know, so well-earned rest and
back on the roller coaster.
Back on the roller coaster, but yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Play how we play. Do not be afraid because of who you're playing against, that we can't do things. You're good players. It will be difficult, they will be good too. That's the point of playing football, is to play against good teams, okay? So this is what everyone's playing for, and enjoy the moment. Don't let it pass you by, okay? No matter what you're doing, starting in the bench, don't let it pass you by. Be engaged in it, be present in it, and enjoy it, okay? And most importantly, us. We don't change for anybody, okay? We are our own team, we are our own people, we play our way, and we believe in what we do. Every single person here, okay? No gifts for them. We play at a high intensity, and make them remember you. Play how we
just finished the game here, and it was really fantastic experience for all the boys to play on a pitch like this against a team like this in this location. Really think it's something that they're gonna take away, you know, for the rest of their lives, something that they'll always remember doing, and we're really happy to be able to provide that for them. And then for me, I think really great to be super competitive, especially in the first half, to go up 1-0, take that lead into the half. Disappointing to not finish the game as strongly as we started, but overall, really tremendous experience for the boys. Super pleased for everybody.